We have some new data for the used car market, and it's finally time to talk about it. But before we dive into that, I do want to remind you guys that my course, the Car Sharing Masterclass, is on sale until December 31st at 11:59 p.m., and you can use the code Christmas225 to get $225 off. Not only do you get access to the course, but you also get access to our private Discord and our monthly Zoom calls, and we are so incredibly confident with the quality of education that you'll receive that you also get access to a 30-day money-back guarantee. That way you can give it a try at no risk to you. Again, that code is Christmas225, and you can check that out by clicking the link down in the description below. Manheim released new data for the used and wholesale vehicle market, and I'm not going to lie, things could look a lot better, but they could also look a lot worse. Wholesale used vehicle prices were higher in November compared to October, with the Manheim Used Vehicle Value Index rising to 205.4, which was an increase of 0.2% year over year. Over the last 4 weeks, the 3-year-old index decreased an aggregate of 0.9%, meaning that even though the overall car market did go up, the 3-year-old index, which is a reflection of average cars that are in the used car market, their prices went down, which is good. Throughout the month of November, MMR retention was at 99.6%, which was higher than the month of October. And what this is telling us is that cars were getting more discounts in the month of October compared to November. A discount is a discount, so that is a good thing, but we've definitely seen better MMR retentions that are more advantageous to the consumer. And the average daily sales conversion rate fell to 55.6%, which is a decline from last month, but is still higher than what we typically see this time of year. For comparison, the average daily sales conversion rate was 50.7% over the course of the last 3 Novembers. But I do think that this data is a little bit skewed because this is basing it off of the last 3 Novembers, which, as we know, is definitely impacted by the pandemic and the car market explosion. And so I do think that that data and that metric is definitely a bit skewed and a bit unreliable as a result. Now let's move on to individual vehicle segments, and let's see how each type of vehicle is trending in the car market. And this is where things get a little bit crazy. You can see here a graph showing the individual vehicle segments, and I'm willing to bet that right off the bat, you know what I'm about to say just looking at this graph. And that is the incredible turn that the car market has had and how we are finally seeing car prices level off, with the exception of EVs. Now, as I mentioned a moment ago, the total car market went up by 0.2% year over year. And you can see here that the car market is really beginning to stabilize. Electric vehicles are by far the big loser here, with a decline in value of 11.4% year over year. Next up is pickup trucks, far ahead of EVs, but still the second loser with a decline of 2.3%. And luxury cars and compact cars both have a decline of 1.4%. But non-EVs, SUVs and crossovers, and mid-sized cars all saw extremely small changes year over year, with mid-sized cars increasing in value by 0.3%, SUVs declining in value by 0.2%, and non-EVs declining by 0.1%. And what's really crazy here is that if you look at this exact same graph from 12, 18, 24 months ago, it paints a dramatically different picture. But nowadays, the graph is much less extreme, and car prices are absolutely beginning to level out. And this no doubt tells us that the car market is stabilizing. But let's move on and let's take a look at CarGurus Used Vehicle Value Index to see how different makes and models are trending in this current car market. Here's a graph where it's showing roughly the last year from December 1st, 2023 until December 8th, 2024. And you can see that over the last year, car prices have been a bit of a roller coaster. Obviously, we saw a significant drop in prices in the first 2 months of the year, followed by a slight increase in flatline, followed by a decrease, and we have been seeing decreases in recent months. And car prices have fallen quite a bit since the end of October into the beginning of December. And unlike Manheim, who's showing a 0.2% increase in car prices year over year, CarGurus is actually showing a 4.92% decrease. Now remember that the difference between Manheim and CarGurus is one, CarGurus is a metric that's just based off of CarGurus listing, so it definitely should not be used as like the end-all be-all metric to see where the car market is trending, but I do think that it's just one of many good tools that you can use in order to keep an eye on the market, while Manheim is wholesale vehicles. So these are the vehicles that are sold to like the dealerships and the sellers that then sell you the car. Manheim absolutely has an impact on the overall car market because if dealerships and car sellers are buying cars for a more expensive price, this is ultimately going to impact you. But like we're seeing today between CarGurus and Manheim, it is very common for the Manheim index to either go up or down and something like CarGurus to be reflecting something totally different. Because ultimately, just because a dealership buys a car at a certain price doesn't mean that they'll be able to sell it for a certain price. And you can see here that over the last year, every segment of vehicle, with the exception of coupe, has gone down in the last year, with some cars declining by quite a bit. bit. Like the year-over-year data for vans is down 10.21%. In the last 30 days, you can see that all vehicle segments are down, varying from about 0.5% all the way up to nearly 1.5%. If we scroll down to individual makes, you can see that for the most part, car prices are declining, with the exception of specific models like Ferrari, GMC. You can see down here Lexus is up in value. But for the most part, across 30, 90, and even year-over-year data, car prices are still going down, which is a great sign. The biggest winners of the car market really come from the luxury space, with BMW increasing in value by 0.43%, Aston Martin and Ferrari, and Lexus increasing as well. And while there aren't any huge losers, I'm surprised to see that Toyota and Tesla have seen the same amount of depreciation in the last 30 days. Fiat and Dodge have also declined a good amount, but pretty much across all of the different makes, we're not seeing huge swings in the last 30 days. And like I mentioned earlier, it's definitely beginning to stabilize. But one thing that I always say when making these videos is we can talk all day long about what cars are listed for and how much they're theoretically worth, but at the end of the day, all that really matters is how long it's actually taking cars to sell for, and when they sell, what are they selling for? And so to really show that, let's look at a variety of cars on cars.com. I filtered out the search to used vehicles that are 2 to 5 years old with 50,000 miles or less to get something maybe similar to what you'd see with a 3-year-old index, but a little bit more broad. And you can see right off the bat that there are a lot of cars that are dubbed a good and great deal, with even some initial price drop vehicles as well. And whenever looking at cars.com, it didn't take me long to realize that there are a ton of cars throughout the entire platform that are selling at discounted prices compared to what they were originally listed for. This shows us that car sellers and dealerships are having to drop their prices in order to incentivize a sale. We have something like this 2018 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Rubicon, which is being sold for $33,466, and while it is advertised to have a $760 price drop, if we scroll down, you can see that it's been listed for about 3 weeks and has actually had a $2,136 price drop. Ford trucks were seeing a similar trend. This 2020 Ford F-250 is being sold for just under $59,000, has just under 35,000 miles, and while it's advertised to have a $3,413 price drop, you can see that it's actually been reduced in price by $5,000, and it's been listed on the market for 78 days. This 2022 BMW 750i xDrive, which has just over 33,000 miles, is listed for $51,444, and this car has had a price drop of $3,533 and has been listed for 81 days. Or this 2022 Porsche Cayenne e-Hybrid S, which has 22,000 miles and is listed for $73,567. While this car is rated a good deal per cars.com, it's been listed for sale for 43 days and has seen $1,333 in price reductions. But it has only seen one price reduction for this entire time, so if you're to ask me, it probably needs another. Even cars that are considered low inventory automakers like Toyota, Lexus, and Honda, these car makers are also having trouble selling cars, and we are seeing these cars with price reductions despite the fact that theoretically low inventory automakers shouldn't really be needing to reduce their prices at all. But that isn't the case, which is good news for consumers. Something like this 2021 Toyota CHR LE, this has 49,000 miles and is listed for $17,330. And while it's advertised to have a whopping $6,695 price drop, we can see that if we scroll down, it's only had a $6,570 price drop, which is still pretty damn good over the last 20 days. We have something like this 2021 Lexus RC350, which has just under 50,000 miles, is listed for nearly $31,000 and has seen a $1,000 price drop. But if we look at the history, you can see that it's been on sale for 116 days and has seen nearly $5,000 in price reductions. And last but not least is this 2021 Honda Accord, which has 18,584 miles and is sold for nearly $24,000. This car has seen some ups and downs in prices, but has been listed for 71 days and has seen nearly $2,000 in price reductions. This is overall great news, and even though the wholesale car market did go up and the car market could look better, it also looks pretty favorable for the consumer. Dealerships are discounting prices, cars are sitting on dealership lots for quite a while, and this puts you in a good negotiating position if you are someone who is wanting to buy a car. Of course, we also have to take into account that very, very soon we are approaching end of year, end of quarter, end of month, so come here shortly, it's going to be some of the best time of the year to buy a car, where you should be able to get the best incentive, the most discounts, and ultimately the best price. But despite all of this, I think one thing is becoming abundantly clear, and that is the car market is absolutely stabilizing. Don't forget that dealerships and car sellers giving discounts, that's the historical norm. Dealerships dying on the hill of their car price and not offering any discounts and charging above MSRP, that was the exception. Even if it felt like the norm during the pandemic, it certainly isn't the case. And the fact that we are beginning to see these types of discounts, it again really solidifies the fact that the car market crash, I think, is over and the car market is stabilizing. And I also think that a factor outside of normalization as to why car dealers and car sellers are having to lower their prices is I think that there are a lot of car sellers that are still delirious and delusional on what the prices of a car should be. And I think that there are many car sellers that are just setting their prices way too high out of the gate, and so they have to lower their prices thousands of dollars in order to compensate for that. But no matter how you slice it, the car market is stabilizing, and for better or for worse, outside of these car makers that are having a very, very tough time with inventory piling up left and right, I do think that the car market crash is, for the most part, over. Like always, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it, so make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.